Hello everyone, welcome to Afristylz Yarns. My name is Neema. Today we're going to make this heart-shaped coaster for our Valentine special. I'll be using a chunky thread yarn with a size 3.5mm hook. So let's get straight into the pattern. For today's pattern, we'll be using this red thread. It's a 3-ply chunky thread, and this white thread. For this one, it's a 4-ply medium weight yarn, so I'll be using the white in double thread just to match up with the size of the chunky thread. I'll be using that together with my size 3.5mm hook. Ideally, I should be using a size 4 or 5, but I want the pattern to be a bit tight, so I'll be using the size 3.5mm hook together with my pair of scissors and my darning needle. I'll begin off my pattern by making a slip knot. So I'll hold the tail end of my thread, wrap it around my 2 fingers, make sure it crosses, and turn it. I'll take my hook, go below the first one and pick up on the second one, and then I'll just give the project a pull, and you have your knot on your hook. We'll start off by chaining 6. Then we want to make a ring, so we're going to go into the first chain. So we're going to go in the back loop only. So I'll go in with my hook, pull up a loop and pull through 2, making a slip stitch. Then this tail end, I'll just wrap it around like that. Then I have my first loop. Then I'm going to chain 3. This is row 1. The chain 3 will act as my first double crochet, so I want to work 4 more double crochet in this space. So I'll yarn over, go into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we have a total of 5 double crochets. So we're going to chain 3, turn our work and start on row 2. So for row 2, this chain 3 will act as my first double crochet for this row. So in this space between the last 2 double crochets, this space in between, we're going to work in there. So inside the space, I'm going to work 3 double crochets. So yarn over, go into the space, work a double crochet, yarn over, work your second double crochet, yarn over, work your third double crochet in the same space. You have a total of 4 double crochets. Then we're going to move to the last space between the first 2 double crochets of the previous row. This last 2 double crochet, the space in between, we're going to yarn over, go into that space and work 4 double crochets. So you have your first double crochet, your second double crochet, your third double crochet, your fourth double crochet. So that is row 2. We're going to chain 3 and turn our work and begin row 3. So we're going to go again the space between the first 2 double crochets, the space in between, we're going to work 3 double crochets in that space, and this chain 3 will act as our first double crochet. So in total we'll have 4 double crochets. Yarn over, go into the loop, pull up and go into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's your first double crochet, your second double crochet and your third. So you have a total of 4 double crochets. Then we're going to work our next set of double crochets in this space between the 2 sets. Here, going to work 3 double crochets in that space. And then in this first, the space between the last 2 double crochets, just give it a pull and you see that last space, we're going to work 4 double crochets in that space. So yarn over, work your first double crochet and 3 more double crochet to make a total of 4 double crochets in the same space. So row 3 is done. So we have 4 double crochets, 3 double crochets and 4 double crochets. The trick about this pattern is the first and the last set will be 4, but in between will always be 3. So to begin row 4, we're going to chain 3, turn our work. This chain 3 will act as our first double crochet. We'll yarn over, and the space between the first 2 double crochets, we're going to go in there and work 3 double crochets. To make a total of 4 double crochets, then we'll move to this space between the 2 sets. This looks like an inverted V. We're going to work in there 3 double crochets. Move to the next space, an inverted V, work 3 double crochets in that space. And then in the last set, between the last 2 double crochet, just give your project a put that last space. We're going to work 4 double crochets in that space. And row 4 is done. So we're going to chain 3, turn our work. The chain 3 counts as a double crochet, so between the first 2 double crochets, that space in between, we're going to go in there and work 3 double crochets. Then we're going to work 3 double crochets in the next space, so yarn over. Move to the next space between the sets of double crochets, work 3 double crochets in the same space. Move to the next inverted V between the 2 sets of double crochets and work 3 double crochets. Then in that last space between the 2 last double crochets of the previous row, that space we're going to work 4 double crochets in the same space. And we're done with row 5. We're going to chain 3, turn our work and begin row 6. So I'll yarn over in the space between the first 2 double crochets of the previous row. That space we're going to go in and work 3 double crochets to make a total of 4. Then we'll move to the next space between the 2 sets of double crochets. This inverted V, we're going to go in the space and work 3 double crochets. Move to the next space, work 3 double crochets. Move to the next space, work 3 double crochets. In the next space, work 3 more double crochets in the same space. So the last 2 double crochets, the space in between, going to go in that space and work 4 double crochets. And your row 6 is done, so we're going to move over to row 7. Chain 3, turn your work. This chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, So in the space between the first 2 double crochets of the previous row, the space in between, we're going to work 3 double crochets in that space. Move to the next space and work 3 double crochets. Move to the next space, work 3 double crochets. Move to the next and work 3 double crochets. Move to the next space, work 3 double crochets. Move to that space, work 3 double crochets. And then in the final space, which is the space between the last 2 double crochets of the previous row, that last space, we're going to work 4 double crochets in that space. And we're done with row 7. So we're going to chain 3, turn our work. So for row 8, we're going to start reducing. We'll not work double crochets here. Instead, in the next space, we're going to work 3 double crochets over here. So yarn over and work 3 double crochets. Then in the next space, work 3 double crochets. 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 In the next space, which is our final space, we're going to work 3 double crochets. In this space between the last 2 double crochets of the previous row, that space we're going to yarn over and work 1 double crochet in that space. And row 8 is done. So we're going to chain 3, turn our work. Again, we're going to reduce again further, so I'll work 3 double crochets in this next space. So I'll yarn over 1, 2, 3 double crochets, and then move to the next space and work 3 double crochets. Then I'll chain 3 in this, and then in the next space I'm going to work a single crochet. Then I'll chain 3 in the next space, work 3 double crochets. Then in the next space I'll work 3 double crochets. And then in that space, after the 3 double crochets, that the top of that space, I'm going to yarn over, go into that space. It's a chain space, so go into 2 and work a double crochet, and your row is done. So I'll chain 3, turn my work, and begin row 10. So I'll yarn over, and in this next space right here, I'm going to work 3 double crochets over there. Then I'll chain 3, and in that space after the 3 double crochets of the previous, in that space I'm going to go in and work a single crochet and work 2 more single crochets. So in that space I'm going to work 3 single crochets. Then at the top of our single crochets of the previous row right here, I'm going to go in and work a single crochet also, and then move to this. In this space I'll work 3 single crochets. Then I'll chain 3 and work 3 double crochets in this next space. After the 3rd double crochet, I'm going to yarn over, go into this final space. After the 3 double crochets of the previous, I'll go into the next space, that space, and work a double crochet to finish off that row. And after that, our pattern will be done, because now your hat is complete. So from here, what we're going to do is create a border around the pattern just to define the heart shape. So we're going to turn our work. We're going to go into that space. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. That's a single crochet. That's our first. And we're going to work 2 more single crochets in there. Second, our 3rd. Move to the next space and work 3 single crochets. Then move to the next space and work 3 single crochets. And then in that, just pull that piece, and in this, which was a chain 3, we're going to work 3 single crochets in that also. And it's a repeat all the way. So in each space you're going to be working 3 single crochets as we go around. When you get to the bottom peak of our piece, in this space we're going to work 6 single crochets instead of 3. So that's the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. And that tail end of ours has been nicely tucked under there. So the 6 will allow for the work to naturally turn. And then now we are on the other side of the hat. So again, 3 single crochets in every space. So you have your 3. Move to the next space, work 3 single crochets. The next space, 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 3 single crochets. Then right here, just give your work a little pull. I'm going to work 3 single crochets in that post. Then in the next space, 3 single crochets. The next space, 3 single crochets. In the next space, 3 single crochets. And then at the top of this double crochet, this first space, we're going to go in the space and work a single crochet. The next space, work a single crochet. The next space, work a single crochet. Those are 3. Then after that, in the next space, work 3 single crochets. And then in the next space, at the top, you'll see that V. You're going to go into that space and work a single crochet. Work in the next space, work a single crochet. Just look at the V at the top. In the next space, work a single crochet. At this point, we are at the midpoint of the hat, so I like going at the very bottom right here. I'll go into this space, which is the previous single crochet, so I'll go in that space, pull up a loop and pull through, working a slip stitch. Then I'll go into the next space, pull up a loop and work a single crochet. like that. In the next space I'll work a single crochet. In the next space I'll work a single crochet. Then in this space we're going to work 3 single crochets. Then at the top of that double crochet, there's that space. We're going to go in there and work a single crochet. In the next space, single crochet, and in the next space, single crochet, and we are back and we've finished our border. So at this point I'll introduce our white thread, because now we want to create the border detail. I'm using my white thread in double thread. So I'll start off by making a slip knot. So I'll hold the tail end, loop it around my 2 fingers, turn your work, my hook, go below the first and pull the second and pull the project. Then I'll remove it and put it aside first. Then from here, how we work on the detail is I'll chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Then I'll give this red a little pull, put it aside, go into the next space. After the chain space, there's that space. I'm going to go in that space with my hook and loop my slip knot, pull it up, then I'll yarn over and pull through. That acts as my chain 1. Then I'll chain 5 more, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I'll remove the white, put it aside. I'll just push it to the back, then come over and work on put my red thread back. Then in the space after the white, in the next space, I'm going to go in and work a slip stitch. Then I'll chain 6, remove my thread, push it to the back, bring up my white and loop it back in. Then I'll go to the next space after where you worked on the red slip stitch. The next space I'm going to go in with my loop and work a slip stitch with my white thread. Then I'll chain 6, remove my loop, push it to the back, pull up my red, put it back into the hook. Then I'll go to the space after the white thread. I'll go into the next space and work a slip stitch. Then I'll chain 6, then I'll remove my hook, push the red thread back, pull up my white, and in the next space work a slip stitch with my white. Then I'll chain 6, then I'll loop it, push it back, bring up my red, go into the next space, work a slip stitch, chain 6, then push it to the back, bring up your white thread, and then in the space, in the next space, work a slip stitch, then chain 6. Then just push the white back, come back to your red, and in the next space work a slip stitch and chain 6. Then push it to the back, bring up your white, and in the next space work a slip stitch and chain 6. And for this row it will be a repeat all the way around. So what you end up having is these little loops with the white, with the red and the white, the red, the white. So continue with the same and you'll work all around, and I'll meet you at the end just to finish off. So we're in our last spaces. So I've worked my white, then I'll push it towards the back, I'll pick up my red and then in the next space after the white I'll go in and work a slip stitch and chain 6, then I'll push it towards the back, pick up my white, and with my 6 in the last space right here, I'm going to go into that space and work a slip stitch. Then I'll chain 6, push that towards the back, come back to my red, and then loop it back. And since we're finishing it off with my 6, I'll come back into this first space over here. Then I'll not go into the space, instead I'll just attach it to the first V, this first chain of the really first 6 chain with the red. I'm going to go into that space and work a slip stitch. Then I'll yarn over and cut my thread. Then I'll take my white, then the same thing, I'll come over to where we first started. So in this first space of the white, I'm going to go in, I'll give that red a little push so I can get access to this white, the first chain. I'm going to go in at the back and work a slip stitch. Then I'll chain 1, cut my thread, and we'll be done. So we'll tuck this in. Once tucked in, it will be nice and clean like that. So with your edges nice and tucked in, you have your little coaster over there, and it looks really beautiful. So if you've made it to the end of this video and you liked the pattern, do give us a thumbs up and leave us a comment in the comment section below on what you really found interesting about the video. Also do consider subscribing, it really helps in growing our channel. So up until next time, bye.